Lydia with Raindrop Lila. Welcome to my channel. And I want to show you guys how I made these. And now I'm using some digitals from my shop, but you can actually do this with any digitals you have or even any photos. So basically what I did was I just printed on some paper and I glued it down to some cardstock, and now I want to embellish it a little bit. So I'm going to grab a needle and some thread. And what I did was I chose some lace here that kind of matched. Okay, so I'm going to thread my needle first. Okay, so what I did was I picked out some lace that I thought might work well with this image. And you can, I always try to kind of look at the image and try to figure out what colors will go really well. You can also kind of consider how you match your clothes. Sometimes if you're gonna wear pink, you're gonna usually match it up. If you want like a more feminine look, you'll probably match it up with white or cream and maybe with other pale pinks. But if you're looking for a, obviously you can add black to it for for some contrast. But I'm going for a very feminine, almost shabby chic look. So I am going to try out these little laces. I think this looks really pretty. And if you can see, this kind of looks pretty too. I'm trying to figure out which one I want to go with. I think I like this one better though. Or I can go with this. This one would work also, I think. But I still think I like the cream one better, and I even have some ribbon if I want to add some ribbon at the end. We'll see. I think I'm going to go with this one first. Let's see again. I think that's really pretty. So basically that's kind of what I did here. It was I just pulled out some lace and some fabrics that kind of coordinate with the images, and I just basically sewed different I try to kind of keep them a little bit different because it's nice if I'm going to use these in a journal. It's nice to have a little bit of something a little bit different for each one. Okay, so I tied my knot, and all I'm doing is going in and out on here. And sometimes I try to keep in mind, do I want the stitching to show on here? Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. In this case, I'm going to make, you're going to see more of the stitching on this side, and I'm going to try to keep my stitches on the front a little bit smaller so they're not so noticeable. I don't know if that makes sense. So see, it's so tiny, it's just right there. And then on the back, my stitch is longer. Okay, so it really just depends what look you're going for, because sometimes I don't. Sometimes I think the stitches look really good and I don't mind them showing at all. So you got to keep that in mind, whether, you know, like what do you want or what look are you going for. These look really cute tucked into a pocket in a journal, or even just attached with a paper clip on the side of a page. And it's a really nice way to actually hide some personal journaling if you like to journal in your journal. If your journal is more of a writing journal and you have maybe thoughts that you don't want to share with the whole world, basically if you just add a little bit, like a little card in front of your journaling, you can't like read everything on the page. So that's kind of a nice little tip that I like to use in my journals. Okay, so I just tied off the end, and there it is. And now this could be done like that. I think that is so cute, but we can also go a little bit extra and like tie a little ribbon with a key. I think that's kind of pretty. And I like the fact that this is like a climbing rose, and it's like it goes to a bedroom almost. So it's almost like, that kind of is really pretty and romantic. Or I can go with this little charm and just add that to it, but I kind of like the key better. And then I have a few sequins. So I kind of like the key down here though. So I'm thinking though, again, you can go simple or you can go extra and add a few of these sequins. I think that would be kind of pretty right there. Let's see how that looks. So I always like to kind of lay things out first before I go with it. And maybe then just have the key. Let's see how it's gonna work. Okay, so maybe I'm going to sew this little ribbon on here and then have the key dangling down. Okay, so I think I'm gonna start with the sequins first. I think that's super cute, and I think that's, I think sometimes I like to go simple and sometimes I like to do a little bit extra, which is what I'm gonna do here. And I kind of like that I'm putting one in each little section of the lace. So I think that'll be really cute. Okay, let's see. So basically, I'm going to sew in my little, I'm going to sew in the sequence. And I'm going to use one of these seed beads. Hopefully it's going to fit through my needle. Some of them don't. Sometimes they don't, so I got to pick one that does. So these little seed beads are kind of like the way I attach. Let's see. Okay, so basically I have the sequence on there, and now you can just sew around it, but then you have a line, kind of like a line. You'll have that, the string, you'll see the string going over it, which isn't a problem, but sometimes it's nice to just have the seed bead hold it in place. Let's see if that, oops, it just broke. Okay. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm gonna feed a little seed bead through this. Okay, and then I'm gonna poke around the seed bead. So the seed bead is what is keeping the seed bead is a little bit larger than the sequin. And that's what's holding it in place, and that way you're not going over the sequence with the little, with your thread where you would see it. You're just going over the seed, and it's so tiny that you can't really see it. So I don't know if that makes sense, but I hope it does. So basically the bead is what's holding the sequence in place, if that makes sense. Okay, so I got my third one on here, and now I'm just gonna tie. I'm just gonna tie it off so that I can move on to the little key. And the little key I'm actually gonna put in right in there. I think that's so cute. Okay, so I gave myself a little bit of room for the key to, I gave myself a little bit of room on the lace there for the key to have kind of like a place to go. And I think this is so pretty, and I love the color of this ribbon. It's like a champagne color, kind of like a really pale blush. Okay. So I was going to mention that the seed beads, some of them were too small for my needle to go through, so I had to kind of check out, I had to try out like a bunch of them, which is why I have so many out here. I actually pulled a bunch out so I could see if they would fit, and I would just use the end of my needle and just see if they would fit like this, because some of them are a little bit bigger. The middle is a little bit bigger than the other ones, so I was able to test them that way to figure out which ones would work. Now, you might want to make sure you have a super thin needle to work with, or just test it and see which, just check and see if your needle will fit through the seed bead. Okay, so I am tying this on here, just like that. Yeah, sometimes I have to fuss with it to figure out how I like it first before I decide. Yeah, I think I like that a lot right there. I love the way it's hanging off at the end there. So I'm gonna tie it off now because I know I like how it looks. And now the back, you can see the stitching on the back, and I really don't mind it. I think it's fine. But if you really wanted to, you can add some little lace, you know, or a little ruffle. Maybe I should do that just to show you guys. So basically, I can just go back in here and just attach it with, you can actually glue this on here. Since my ruffle is done already, you can actually just glue it on, but stitching is really not that hard. You're just, I'm stitching it just straight to the lace underneath. So let's make sure that this, okay. So I was just make sure that both strings are pulling through. And so now I'm just going to keep attaching it on here. I'm just poking down, making sure I'm grabbing that lace underneath, and then I'm just pulling it through at the top. And I'm trying to keep the stitches on the top a little bit smaller so they're not like huge, and then I'm just going to tie it off at the end. So now that's like an extra little bit of detail on the back. And how cute is this? Because you can just journal on this card here, and you can write a poem or a quote, or you can even add a picture. I think that would be really cute on the back of this card. Okay, so now here is the little key with the ribbon. And I think I'm gonna trim the ribbon, and I'm gonna trim it at a diagonal. I just think that looks really pretty. So I'm making one of the ends a little bit longer. Let me show you guys how that looks. So see how I trimmed it on a diagonal, it's not straight. And then one of them is longer than the other because that's just really visually pleasing to have something just a little bit longer. And so they're not totally the same. So now these are my cards, and you saw how easy they are. Even this was super easy. You just kind of stitch that on there, the lace, and I made a bow. And then I just I made a bow out of this ribbon, and they're super simple and so pretty. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoy this craft with me, and I hope you guys try it out and add some pretty ribbons and laces and sequins to your cards or pictures. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, and if you'd like to see more, please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.